Hello students, today we continue our chapter Nationalism in India. So today we're starting from second subheadings different strands within the movements. So the movements in the towns. The movement started with the middle class participated in the cities. Thousands of students left government-controlled school and colleges. Headmaster and teacher resigned, and lawyer gave up their legal practices. It is about non-cooperation movement. So foreign goods were boycotted. Likewise, shops picketed and foreigner clothes burnt in huge bonfires. So the important of foreigner clothes have held between 1921 to 1922. Its value dropping from rupee 102 crore to 57 crore. So you can see the difference between these two amounts. It is clear. Production of Indian textile mills and handlooms went up. So, this is the type of non-cooperation doing by Indians under Mahatma Gandhi. But this movement in the cities gradually slowly down for a variety of reasons. Khadi cloth was often more expensive than mass production mill clothes. And similarly, the boycott of British institution posed a great problem. For the movement to be successful, alternatives institutions had to be set up. So, in this movement, if Indian want to this movement successful, they have to be alternative institution setups like British government do for Indian. So student and teacher begin trickling back to government schools, and lawyer also join back work in government courts. So this movement is not far successful. Okay, rebellion in the countryside. So in all over India, and we can see different parts of India, different kind of rebellion. So in Awadh, peasants were led by Baba Ramchandra. So Baba Ramchandra, very important person in the concept of Awadh. So peasants has to begar. We already taught about begar. Begar means labor that villagers would force to contribute without any payment. We call them begar. So begar and worker and landlords farms without any payment. The movement here was against talukdars and landlords. So this movement is against talukdar and landlords because they are taking begar from the villagers and peasants. In June 1920, Jawaharlal Nehru began going around the villages in Awadh, and as the movement spread in 1921, the houses of talukdars and merchants were attacked, bazaars were looted, and grain hoarded were taken over. So by the peasants, by the villagers, the houses of talukdar and the merchants were attacked and bazaar also looted. The name of Mahatma was being invoked in sensation, all action and aspirations. सो अवध में इस तरीके से चल रहा था. ओके, tribal peasants interpreted the message of Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of Swaraj in yet another way. The colonial government had closed large forest areas, or preventing people to graze their cattle or to collect firewoods, fuel woods, and fruits. Not only were their livelihood affected by they felt, but also their traditional rights were being denied. So in tribal area, tribal pigeons feel like that because British government, colonial government closed their large forest area. So it is not possible to villagers to go into forest and cattle their graze their cattle and collect firewoods, fuel woods and fruits from forest. So they feeling the all the peasants and all the tribal peasants and villagers are feel that the British government not only take their livelihoods, also they denied their traditional rights. So Okay, so Alluri Sitaram Raju in Andhra Pradesh. In Andhra, it is about tribal peasants. So at the year in Andhra Pradesh, the Alluri Sitaram Raju led this movement. Okay. So the peasants of Gudem Hill of Andhra Pradesh, the tribal peasants, interpret the message given by the Mahatma Gandhi of Satyagraha, the idea of Satyagraha, उसको वो किसी another way में interpret कर रहे थे. So Alluri Sitaram Raju claimed that he had a variety of special powers. He could make correct astrological prediction and heal people, and could survive even bullet shots. So he asserts that the India could be liberated only by the use of force and not non-violence. Sitaram Raju, Alluri Sitaram Raju also supported Mahatma Gandhi, but they fully support of non-force. Raju was captured and executed in 1924 because they support in violence, not in non-violence. So you can see a image given away. We have a image given in this chapter, which is Alluri Sitaram Raju. Okay. So like we know that various part of India, there are so many problem occurred. So in Assam we have a movement is Assam related with the plantation. So in Assam, workers in the plantation of Assam demanded the right to move freely in and out of the states, but British government didn't give them the right. They opposed the Inland Immigration Act, which is come into 1859, which took away the right to free movement. This act, Inland Immigration Act of 1859, take away the right of free movement of Assamese. So when they heard about the non-cooperation movement led by Mahatma Gandhi, they moved to their villages. They thought that the Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their villages. However, they were caught and beaten up by police. Okay, so police means British government. Withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement. So Gandhiji withdraw the non-cooperation movement because they have so many reasons for that. The movements become violent in some area in India in February 1922. In February 1922, in Chora Chori, which is located in Uttar Pradesh, Chora Chori's place, which is in Uttar Pradesh, people turned violent and set fire to a police station. 22 policemen were killed in this incident. So Gandhi ji was against violence and the movement slowed down in urban areas. He thought that it was necessary to train the people is non-violent satyagraha because Mahatma Gandhi support non-violence. Okay, so what is the significance of non-cooperation movement? Non-cooperation movement was a large-scale mass movement. It's attract common people from all social groups, which is coming from all the groups. So non-cooperation movement and Khilafat movement went together. So they promoted Hindu-Muslim unity. Okay, so these are the significance of this movement. Peasants and tribals also take part on it. Movements become a part of Indian national movements. Peasants and tribal people also take part on these movements. It was a non-violence movement. So non-cooperation movement is non-violence movement. So it is popularized the Gandhian idea of non-violence satyagraha. Okay, we move on to next subheading, which is toward civil disobedient. Okay, first when we go to when we know about the civil disobedient movement, before that we know what is the Swaraj Party, because Swaraj Party is also an important topic in your syllabus. So Swaraj Party formed by C.R. Das. C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru in 1922. Okay, many people leaders suggest the idea of fighting the Britishers from within the Legislative Council, and leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose proceed for a more radical agitations. Okay, so we continue our civil disobedient movement. What is the reason behind to organized disobedient movement? We have at that time we have two important reasons behind it. Number one is Simon Commission. Simon Commission of 1927, a big reason of it, and great economic depression in 1920, also a cause of non-corporate organization of non-corporate non civil civil disobedient movement. So first we move on to Simon Commission. Simon Commission was constituted by the Tory government of Britain under pressure of mass movement in India. Sir John Simon was the chairman of the commission. Do underline it or put a note in your notebook. And so to this is the Sir John Simon was the chairman of this committee, okay, of this commission, and sought to look into the demands of the nationalist and struggle change in the constitutional structure of India. Arrived in India. So Simon Commission arrived in India 1928. Congress and the Muslim League along with other parties received the commission with black flags and slogans such as "Go Back Simon." So you also heard about this slogan. The Muslim Leagues and the Congress, they are opposed, they are against of this Simon Commission, and they are they take black flag with them and speak a slogan, "Go Back Simon." In October 1929, the commission recommended a dominion status for India's coming future and round table conference for discussing a future institution for India. So Simon Commission is coming India for discussing about, and they want to recommend the dominant status in India for their becoming future, and also talk about round table conference. There are three round table conference occurred in London. And what is the effect of Simon Commission? So we see what the effect, what was the effect. So December 1929, under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru, the Lahore session of Congress formalized the demand of Purna Swaraj. So this is very important, okay. 26 January 1930 was celebrated as the Independence Day. From the 1930 they are decided to celebrate Independence Day, but it is not continue, okay. We get independence after 1947. So, 1930, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar established the Depression Classes Association, okay. Okay, so now the second reason behind civil disobedience movement is Great Depression. Great Depression had deep impact on the agriculture and industrial goods. Poverty increased by 1930 due to high taxes, because there are at that time India go through with great economic depression. So it's increased taxes, high taxes too, and prices will also high. सिविल डिसओबीडियंट मूवमेंट. अब हम देखेंगे व्हाट इज सिविल डिसओबीडियंट मूवमेंट. गांधी जी चूज सॉल्ट एज द मीडियम फॉर प्रोटेस्टिंग अगेंस्ट द ब्रिटिश रूल्स, एज सॉल्ट वॉज समथिंग कंज्यूम्ड बाय द रिच and the poor alike, and it was one of the most essential item of food. So on 31 January 1930, Gandhi sent a letter to Viceroy Irwin stating 11 demands ranging from industrialists to peasants. The most important of the demands was the abolition of salt tax. which is increases. The government was asked to accept the demands by 11th March, or else a full civil disobedience campaign would be launched. So Mahatma Gandhi wrote a letter to Viceroy Irwin. If they are not accepted till 11th of March 1930, so he will be launched a full civil disobedience movement. To we try to understand what is the salt march and why is organized by Mahatma Gandhi. So mark it the beginning of civil disobedience movement. Mahatma Gandhi started his famous salt march, accompanied by 70 of the trusted volunteers. So Mahatma Gandhi started this campaign with by their 78 volunteers. It started from Mahatma Gandhi Ashram. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi Ashram in Gujarat, which is called Sabarmati, coastal town of Dandi, spanning a distance from 240 miles. Very important. All the lines are very important. So Mahatma Gandhi started their salt march from their ashram in Sabarmati, Gujarat, sparing distance from Dandi 240 miles. And on 6th April 1930, Mahatma Gandhi reached Dandi. Okay, they started the salt march in March month, and they reached in Dandi in 6th April 1930. Okay, with thousands of followers, and the ceremonially violated the law of manufacturing salt from seawater by boiling it. So how the salt movement spread all over the India? Soon the movement spread to the entire nation. Colonial law were violated. Salt was manufactured in numerous places in front of the government salt factories, and foreigner clothes were burnt. Liquid soaps were picketed, and peasants refused to pay revenue and chowkidari taxes. Villages official resigned, and many places people violated forest law by going into the reserve forest for collecting woods and graze cattle. So you can see all over India how the movement is spread. Okay, so what is the government response? What after that, what British government responded? So in April 1930, Abdul Ghaffar Khan was arrested by British government. In May 1930, Mahatma Gandhi ji was arrested. Peacefully satyagrahi were attacked. Women and children were beaten by the government, and about 1 lakh people were arrested. And about 10,000 people were arrested. Okay, after that, between Gandhi and Irwin have a pact. So on 5 March, Gandhi ji called off the movement, entering into a pact with Viceroy Lord Irwin. He consisted to participate in the Round Table Conference, and the government agreed to release the political prisoners. In December 1931, Gandhi ji went to London for the second Round Table Conference. The conference held was unforgettable, as nothing fruitful come out of it for India. So we have 3 roundtables happen in London. First is 1930, second is 1931, and third is 1932. So Mahatma Gandhi take part of 1931 second round table. Okay, but nothing conclusion come for Indians. So Mahatma Gandhi decided to relaunch the movement. When Mahatma Gandhi returned from the second round table conference, he discovered that the Ghaffar Khan and Jawaharlal Nehru were in jail. The Congress had been declared illegal, and the series of procedures had been enforced to prevent meetings, demonstrations, and boycotts. With great apprehensions, Mahatma Gandhi relaunched the civil disobedience movement in 1932. So again Mahatma Gandhi released it, but by 1934 it lost momentum. Okay, participation by people in second time civil disobedient movement. So rich community also take part on it. Rich peasants communities such as the Patidars and of Gujarat and the Jats of Uttar Pradesh took part in this movement, as they, so you can do underline it in Gujarat and Jars of Uttar Pradesh. As they produce commercial crop, they were hit hard by trade depression and falling prices that caused a decrease in the case income of these rich peasant communities. So they decided to oppose the high revenue demand of the government through their participation in the civil disobedient movements. So rich community have also some regions to join this movement. What about poor peasants? Poorer peasants were mainly small tenants that the rented land from landlords. They found difficulty in paying their rents due to the depression and the decrease in the cash incomes. So they want to pay unpaid rent to the landlords to be remitted. They also peasants also had participated in many radicals movement led by socialists, and the business classes also take part on this moment. The business classes wanted protection against imports of foreigner goods and a rupee sterling foreign exchange ration that would discourage imports. They formed the Indian Industrial and the Commercial Congress in 1920 and the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is called FICCI, in 1927, and supported the civil disobedient movement. And also industrial worker class also take part on it. They didn't participated in large number except in the Nagpur region, okay, but only some workers participated in the civil disobedient movement boycott of foreigner goods, and women also take part on it. The participation on protest marches, manufactured salt and picket foreigner clothes and liquid swab become the witches men went to jail. There was a large scale participation of women in the civil disobedient movement. What is the cause of failure of this movement? This movement is got failure, but what is the cause of this? We know about that, okay. So the civil disobedient movement was called off without the fulfillment of the demand of the rich peasants communities. When the movement was relaunched, many rich peasant community decided not to join the civil disobedient movement after that, okay. So they didn't want after the success of that. The Congress was unwilling to support the no rent campaign, and due to the fear of upsetting the rich peasants and landlords. This is the also a cause of it. And the spread of militant activities, warriors of prolonged business distributions, growing influences and socialism among the young Congress members, and the failure of Round Table Conference led to the withdrawal of support of this movement by the business class, because second Round Table will be unsuccessful. So industrial worker didn't participate in the civil disobedient movement except in Nagpur. We also know that the Dalits, which is we call untouchable, did not participated as the Congress sided with the conservatives, high caste Hindus. Muslim organization and community also separately participated in the movement. The Muslims alienated from the movement due to the fear of dominance of Hindu majority. Okay, we move on to next subheadings, which is about the sense of collective belongingness. So people have a feeling about belongingness in nationwide. So nationalism is spread when the people begin to believe that they are all part of same nation, when they are discover some unity that binds them together. History and fiction, folklores and songs, popular prints and symbols all played a part in making of nationalism. It was the 20th century, with the growth of nationalism, that the identity of India came to be visual associated with the image of Bharat Mata. The image was first created by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay in the 1870s. He wrote Vande Mataram as the hymn of motherland. So Vande Mataram written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, and Rabindranath Tagore, Abhindendranath Tagore painted his famous image of Bharat Mata. He is brother of Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, the image of Bharat Mata occurred many different forms as it circulated in popular prints and was painted by different artists. Devotion of this mother figure came to be seen as evidence of one nationalism. So, in next image, we can see a portrait of Mahatma of Bharat Mata, okay, and also Vande Mataram, okay. We have given a Vande Mataram which took all the people all together, okay. They have feeling of unity. In Bengal, Rabindranath Tagore himself began collecting ballads, nursery rhymes, and myths, and led to movement for folk revival. And Madras Nesa Sastri published a massive 4-volume collection of Tamil folk tales and folklore or southern India. During the Swadesi movement in Bengal, a tricolor flag, red, green, and yellow, from in starting, okay, was designed. It has 8 letters representing 8 provinces of British India and recent moon representing Hindu and Muslims. Indian, okay, so firstly our at present time which our national flag, it is not in at 20th century time. Indian begin looking into the past to discover India's great achievements. They wrote about the glorious development in ancient time when art and agriculture, science and mathematics, religion and culture, law and philosophy, crafted and trade had flourished to India. Okay, so next image we can see, we have a image given of India map, which is in present time our Indian flag is like, but at present at after in 18th century, 19th century and 20th century they have a variety, we have variety different type of national flag. You can see we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lotus in there, and a moon picture is given and written Vande Mataram on it. But at in next procedure we come into the charkha in it, but at present time we have this flag, national flag. Okay, so Quit India movement. The Congress Working Committee in its meeting in Wardha on 14 July 1942 passed the historic Quit India revolution demanding the immediate transfer of power to Indians and quit India. Okay, the Indian National Congress wanted to British government they quit to India and give all the transfer to Indians. On 8 August 1942 in Bombay, the All Indian Congress Committee endorsed the the resolution which called for a non-violent mass struggle on the widely possible scale throughout the country. It was this occasion that Gandhiji delivered the famous slogan, famous speech, do or die, karo ya maro. Okay, so this is very important, asking in many time in your exams. So keep on your mind. The call for Quit India. The call for Quit India almost brought the state machinery to a standstill and large part of the country as people voluntarily threw themselves into the thick of movement. People observed hurdles and demonstration and processions were accompanied by national songs and slogans. The movement was truly a mass movement which is brought into its all ambience thousands of ordinary people, namely students, workers, and peasants. It's also so Quit India movements also so the active participations of leaders, namely Jay Prakash Nair and Narayan, Aruna Asif Ali. They are important person who take part on our national struggle. Aruna Asif Ali, Ram Manohar Lohia, and many women such as Matigini Hazra and in Bengal and Mantagini Hazra in Bengal, Kanaklata Barua in Assam, and Rama Devi in Orissa. The British responded with much force, yet it took more than a year to suppress the movement. So, our chapter is finished here.